still going through the book From the Founding of the City by Tatius Livius or Livy. The book is often referred to as History of Rome. If you've not subscribed, I would really appreciate if you are subscribed, because that might help this content reach more people, and of course help me have a big audience, that is. So I'll really appreciate if you go ahead and subscribe. Now, in the previous video, I mentioned or I talked about the nations that were neighbors of Rome coming or planning to come to Rome and attack Rome for Rome taking away their girls. Now, I had mentioned that 3 nations initially came and attacked Rome, and these nations were the Cainina, Crustuminium, and Antamni. These nations came and attacked Rome because they wanted to punish it for what it did by taking away their girls, of course. But then Romulus and his army defeated them, and after defeating them, he offers them citizenship, and they accept, and they become Romans. Now, meanwhile, there was this other nation of the Sabines. This was a bigger nation as compared to the other 3. And in fact, it was as big as Rome was, with everybody joining it at that moment. It was a really big nation, and it was equally very capable in terms of war. Now, the Sabines didn't react like the others just immediately. They took their time to come up with a strategy and to be very well prepared to face the Romans. And they decide to come and face the Romans. And in fact, when they come face the Romans, they do a lot of damage. They do, you can say, defeat Romans, at least initially at the beginning of the war. And part of it they did through deception. Livy tells us of this one situation where they managed to bribe the daughter of the person who was in charge of the Citadel. His name was Spurius Tarpeius. Spurius Tarpeius was in charge of the Citadel, and the Sabines managed to bribe his daughter. She was going out of the city to collect water, and they talked to her, and they told her they were ready to deal with her, and then they could give her whatever she wanted. And she asked them to give them everything that was on their left hand, all of them, the soldiers. And she said that because she saw that the Sabines had a lot of gold jewelry on their left hand, and so she was like, if all of them give me everything they have on their left hand, then I'm going to make a lot of money. That's what she thought. But she made an error by saying that, and this error costed her own life by asking everything on the left hand. I will explain how that went by. Now, these people bribe her basically, or promise to give her everything they have on their left hand as she had asked, and because she kind of like had access to the keys of the gates to the city, this girl went ahead and gave them those keys. Now, these soldiers, the Sabines, come into the city, Rome, and immediately they kill the lady. Now, Livy tells us that there are several, because Livy was also getting this information from other sources. He says there are several explanations as to why these people had to kill this girl. The first one is that they didn't want it to appear like they used trickery to win the war. They wanted to appear that they used force because it was more respectable for them to have conquered Rome through force and not through trickery. But the other one is that this, as I've said before, this girl had asked the Sabines, to give her everything that they had on their left hand. Now, besides the gold jewelry that was mostly on their left hands, the Sabine soldiers, of course, had their shields on the left hand. Now, when they came in, they piled all the shields on top of her, and that killed her. So Livy tells us that's one of the explanations that is given as to why these people killed this girl. But there is also a third one, which they say is because they really disliked traitors. Despite this girl helping them, they didn't like the fact that she had betrayed her own people. And to them, that was a lot, and they had to get rid of her. And in fact, when you read most of ancient texts, you come across this theme of where somebody betrays their own people, and then the people they do it to benefit, the people who benefit from them doing that end up punishing them because it was so dishonorable in most societies to betray. It didn't matter who you betrayed. It was so dishonorable. Even if you did it and somebody benefited from your actions, they still sometimes felt like they needed to punish you for betraying others. So that's the third reason that is given that these people killed this girl. Anyways, Livy says it's unclear which is the actual reason as to why this girl died. But anyway, she betrayed Rome. She opened the gates for the Sabines, and she died because of that.